Well, welcome to the Herb of the Week with me, your host and instructor of the Botanical Medicine Study course, Stephanie Georgia. Thanks to all who are tuning in and subscribing. I am also enjoying the comments and emails. I'm trying to respond quicker, so patience to all who feel neglected, or better yet, resend your emails. Sometimes things get lost in the Ethernet, and I'm not a bot. So if you would like a free introductory lesson for the class, I have a link in the program notes on how to obtain that. So here we are in May. There are so many wonderful songs about May. My personal favorite is a song from the Broadway show of Camelot. I love May, mainly because it's one of the best months of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. Not too hot, not too cold. Everything is new in terms of plants. The stormy business of spring is over and the flowers are blooming. Flowers are the most amazing aspect of nature in the way they're designed and their purpose. And it's really interesting. You'll hear the lovely storm in the background here. Again, I want to emphasize in terms of evolution, flowers were pretty spontaneous, which I think is so delightful. So for this week and this episode of Herb of the Week, we'll be exploring Yarrow, or as it is known in the botanical world, Achillea millefolium. Achillea millefolium, commonly known as yarrow or common yarrow, is a flowering plant in the Asteraceae family. Other common names, which I have never heard, but apparently these were common at some point, is old man's pepper, which I have no idea where that came from, devil's nettle, sanguinary, which is interesting because sanguine has something to do with blood. So that'll give you a little info on what is so wonderful for the use of Achillea millefolium, milfoil, and soldier's woundwort. Another big hint as to what it's good for. Now, in the Asteraceae family, which means it has lots of flowers in its head and a deep taproot, the focus of this family, and the plant for that matter, is the sun. And collecting sunlight in all those little flowers and transforming the sunlight into the soil through the deep taproot. The plant is native to temperate regions of the Northern Hemisphere in Asia, Europe, and North America. Yarrow's erect stalk, which is covered by little hairs, can rise to 1/2 foot to 4 feet, meaning 4 to 5 or 120 centimeters tall. The narrow oblong leaves with finely dissected segments, hence one of the common names, thousand leaf, along with the stem, form a basal rosette spread along the ground. The white or grayish-white flowers are quite numerous and very small. The reason it's called millefolium is that the leaves have all these feather-like structures, lots of them. So the word milli, which means thousand in Latin, and folium, which is leaves. So we have the April showers still making our beautiful May flowers. Now, there are several herbal actions of this incredible plant. It's a diaphoretic, which means it makes you sweat. So it basically opens up your capillaries near your skin and allows heat to escape by doing that. And this action actually helps relieve fevers. So yarrow flowers are used for fevers. And this same action, it makes it a hypotensive, which means it helps reduce blood pressure. The actions, which you heard in woundwort and all those types of names, it's an astringent, which means it helps stop bleeding and helps tighten up tissues. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's also an antispasmodic. It's a diuretic, which means it helps make you urinate. It's an antimicrobial, it's a bitter, and it's also a hepatic, which means it works on the liver to improve liver function. Now, the chemical constituents of Achillea millefolium, or yarrow, and we know mostly about the white yarrow. Now, when the flowers are dry, they look a little yellow. So there are many different colors to yarrow flowers, but I can only vouch for research done on the white flower variety. And there are a lot of volatile oils in this. Now, the word volatile means the oils evaporate. Now, we don't always think of oils as evaporating, especially if you're like me, you get a new t-shirt and you're mixing up some salad dressing and something blops on your thing. It just certainly doesn't evaporate, right? But volatile oils are the oils that give a lot of scent to plants, and they also evaporate, and they're also very, very full of healing constituents. And in yarrow essential oils, it's alpha and beta pinene, borneol, boryl acetate, camphor, alphyl, tarophyllene. So some more Scrabble words for you. Or if you want to name puppies or goats or something. Sesquiterpene lactones are in yarrow, as is tannins, and tannin is the substance that helps make this plant lovely and astringent. There are flavonoids, and to be honest with you, the only one of these that I'm even remotely familiar with is rutin, but apigenin, luteolin, and isohamilnetin are the different flavonoids, and those give colors and also are very healing to the skin. They're alkaloids, and alkaloids tend to work on the nervous system, which helps make it have that anti-inflammatory and anti-spasmodic property, and coumarins. So those are what is inside yarrow. Now, the yarrow is wonderful in several ways. The flowers and leaves are the healing part. So we don't use yarrow root in anything. And both the flowers and leaves are used to make tinctures and infused oils. You can obviously take yarrow in capsule form. You can take it in tincture, and you can also make a tea. Now, one of the reasons this herb has a common name of knight's oil or soldier's wound wort is that it was used extensively for healing wounds. I cannot vouch for big jousting wounds, but for things like cuts and bruises. It is really good at stopping bleeding as well as healing tissues. An old folk remedy to stop nosebleeds is to get a couple of leaf stalks, crush them and roll them up and place them inside a bleeding nostril, sort of field medicine. Now, also, you can make a poultice of crushed leaves on a cut. And when you're out on a hike, it's a good way to stop the bleeding until you can get to more hygienic situations. The tea from the flowers is great for sore throats. It's an antimicrobial, and you can also use it as a gargle. And for those of you who have vaginas, you can use the tea as a vaginal douche if there's infections are suspected. Now, please, if you do have a vaginal infection, get an accurate lab diagnosis to make sure nothing really serious is going on, say a sexually transmitted disease that could make you sterile. So in addition to using whatever sort of pharmaceutical to address the problem, a yarrow tea douche is great as a companion therapy. Yarrow is also great for stomach cramps, both as a tea and as a tea-soaked compress over the area where there are cramps. The essential oil is obtained through steam distillation and is really expensive because it takes a lot of those darling, cute flowers to make the oil. What is also interesting is that the essential oil turns blue after a while. Azulines are the chemicals that turn things blue, and they do it very well in this wonderful oil. And they are synthesized by steam distillation process. So you do not have to worry if yarrow will turn you blue from the fresh herb. So don't worry if you're crushing the herb on, your skin, you're not going to turn blue. You need to distill those out of the plant in order to do this. Now, the essential oil is really effective for things like cramps, wound, and most of what is good in other types of medicines, such as in teas and salves. It's just very concentrated. Yarrow grows pretty much everywhere and is often quite available in the wild. In California, we were always told to grow yarrow in our gardens because it's drought tolerant and because bees and other pollinators really like it. I think the best way to grow yarrow is to buy seedlings from your local plant store or nursery and do it that way. It's a hardy plant and it comes in various colors, ranging from white to yellow to shades of pink and red. To my knowledge, most of the medicinal studies have been done on the white variety, and I've put a link in the program notes for growing tips. So however you want to appreciate this plant, such as noticing it when you are on hikes or walks, growing it in your garden, or using it medicinally, yarrow is a wonderful ally and definitely worth knowing. If you would like a free introductory copy of the Botanical Medicine Study course, the first lesson, drop me an email and I personally will send you a link for the video and handouts. So until next time, this is Stephanie Georgiev saying thanks so much for sharing your valuable time with me, and be well.